Welcome back. My name is Caleb Oliver and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about the 50-30-20 rule. But before we start, just comment the word down below, budget, because that is the topic for today's video. Alright, let's get started. Today, we're going to continue with my video series entitled Things They Did Not Teach You in School, with the topic of budgeting. Specifically, I'm going to talk about the 50-30-20 rule, which is a very popular budget. So, the 50-30-20 rule says that 50% of your income needs to go to your needs, 30% of your income needs to go to your wants, and 20% of your income goes to savings. So this is your after-tax income, which is what you would see in your check, because first, Uncle Sam, the tax man, taxes you, and then you receive your check. So let's take, for example, somebody who makes $5,000 a month after taxes. They could take 50% of their check, which is $2,500, and put that toward their needs. They can then take 30% of their check, which is $1,500, and put it toward their wants. And they can then take 20% of their check, which is $1,000, and put that toward their savings, and then they are correctly using this rule here. Now let's just clearly define what goes into each category. The needs, which is 50%, these are things you need to survive. So let me give you some examples. We could talk about food in this category, water, housing. So these are the very basics that you need to survive, right? In conjunction with that, you could put your utilities, because in your housing, you're going to need the hot water, you're going to need the electricity. You need these things to live. So we'll put this in the needs category as well. Also, we include in this transportation. We add this into needs because you need a form of transportation to get to work to then actually get a check. So whether that's driving a car or taking the public transportation, we add whatever fees you need to pay into the needs, because that's important as a need. And in conjunction with that, we also add in Wi-Fi/phone bill. These things are important because nowadays you must stay connected. Recently we just came out of quarantine, or some people are still in quarantine, so you need to stay connected with your family and other people. And in conjunction with that, there are people who are working from home. You need to make a few Zoom calls, a few FaceTime calls, a few regular phone calls. So you're going to need your phone and you're going to need Wi-Fi to do that. And that's why this becomes a need. So we're going to put this in the needs category. And one last thing to talk about in this needs category, I found this out by watching Nate O'Brien. I'll link him down below. He's one of my favorite YouTubers. He said you need to put in the minimum debt payment. So if you're paying on student loans, or if you're paying a monthly payment for a credit card, we put this in the needs category, because if you don't take care of this, it'll damage your credit score, and we don't want that. So pay your minimum debt payment in the needs category. Next, we have the wants category. So the wants, which is 30%, these are things that are nice to have, but they are not necessary, aka they are the fun things. So in this category, we include going out to eat, entertainment, so things, for example, like Netflix, Hulu, Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music, whichever subscription service you use for fun. These things count as wants because it'd be nice to have, but they're not extremely necessary. Also, we add in the wants category buying new and flashy clothing. Certainly clothing is a need, it is a need, but to be buying clothes every month and trying to stay trendy and all that stuff, that very much goes in the wants category. That's something that you want. Because it's not 100% mandatory that you buy clothes every month or every time you get paid, that's why we're going to put clothing in the wants category. We will also add buying things online. Now, I know it's very easy to do, but we must control ourselves. I'm going to add myself in that too. As I've been home, it's very easy for me to scroll online and say, I think I want to buy this, I'll buy this, click, click, click. But even for myself, I need to control myself. Now, most of the things I bought, it was for this channel. For example, I have a new microphone that I'll be using to enhance my videos, but it's like, just make sure it's in the budget. Don't go clicking away too much because, you don't want to waste too much money. Also, we have savings. So that's 20%. And this is where you store your money for future plans. For example, your emergency fund. This is where you put your 3 to 6 months of expenses as an emergency fund. This is what most financial experts suggest. By the way, I'm not a financial expert, just a random person on YouTube. So always contact somebody who actually is an expert before you go listening to random advice. But 3 to 6 months, you would put this in your savings. You can also consider saving for retirement, or saving to buy a house, or saving for any large purchase that you may be making in the future, like for example a car. But the main thing to focus on here is you have to have a strong why for your savings. You need to do this so you don't spend the money prematurely. You also need to do this because if you don't have a strong why, you might start but then stop because it's like, whatever, I don't care. It's so important to have a strong why. So like I said, whether it's your emergency fund or buying a house, put a why on it and it's more likely you'll reach this goal. For example, if you like to check out Markets by Goldman Sachs, you can check it out with the link down below. That is the online bank that I use. That is a high yield savings account. The perk of using a high yield savings account is it gives you more interest than a standard savings account does. So if you'd like to check that out, there's a link down below. So with the example I used of the person making $5,000 a month, if they take 20%, which is the $1,000, and they save that for a full year, so $1,000 times 12 months, that's $12,000 saved at the end of the year. For example, they can take $6,000 of that and they can max out their Roth IRA, because in the year 2020, this year, you can max out a Roth IRA with $6,000. Then they would have an additional $6,000 which they can put toward any one of their other accounts, whether it's fortifying their emergency savings or again saving for a house or whatever it is. So it is important that you budget out your money so that way you'll actually be able to reach all of your financial goals. Before we continue on, I just want to say if you're getting any value out of this video, just please click the like button. Also click subscribe and turn on the notification bell. That way you get notified the moment I post my next video. And just comment the word down below, budget, because that is what we're talking about today. The 50-30-20 budget. Doing these things really helps support my channel and it helps get my content pushed to a larger audience. So for that, I am very grateful and I say thank you. Alright, let's keep it moving. So, as you make more money, or you become a little bit more financially savvy, you can tweak these fractions here. That way, it works best for your budget. So for example, you can put 50% into savings, 30% into your needs, and 20% into your wants. This is something really good to do if you're interested in retiring early. And if you're also interested in that topic, you could click the link right up here. I made a video about retiring early through the FIRE movement. FIRE stands for Financially Independent Retired Early. So I'll just leave that link up there and also down below. You want to check that out. It really helps to save more money now. That way you'll be able to retire earlier in your career. It is important to note that there is one thing this budget does not take into account, and that is investing. So you could consider spending less in the wants category and use some of that money to invest. So you could switch it up and make it to 50% needs, 20% wants, 30% investing. Or after you save 6 months of expenses, you can then put the money you were putting into your savings, you can then put it toward investing. And then that changes it into 50% into needs, 30% into wants, 20% into investing. Or you can even consider reducing your needs category because you've, reduced your spending and you really tried to save money in different areas. And then you can tweak it to look something like this. 40% into needs, 30% into wants, and 30% into investing. Or you can use any percentage that works for you, because as you look at your finances and you see how much money you actually have to spend, you can see which percentages works best for you and then follow that plan. Because overall, I want you all to know that it is important to budget. And the most important part is to just start. So I encourage you, after you watch this video, to look at your finances, and if you don't have any budget, to consider using this budget here, the 50-30-20 rule. Once you do this, you'll be on a good path to financial freedom. So, That brings us to the end of the video, but before you click out, I just want you to hit that like button down below. Also, click subscribe and turn on the notification bell. That way you'll be notified the moment I post my next video. And just comment the word down below, budget, because that's what we talked about today. The 50-30-20 rule, budget. Alright, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.